Hey there, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something that is fundamentally shifting how modern professionals approach their daily work. We're going to break down some truly actionable best practices for a highly effective, incredibly helpful approach to sales. We call it the 4 phases of inbound. So if you're a focused learner looking to just strip away all that extra noise and truly understand how to connect with people in a meaningful way, well, you are absolutely in the right place.
Right off the bat, let's talk about what an inbound sales strategy actually is. It is completely focused on delivering a personalized and helpful buyer experience. And notice what's missing there. There's absolutely no mention of those pushy tactics like unprompted cold calls, no aggressive closing techniques, and definitely no one-size-fits-all scripts. Instead, this entire strategy revolves entirely around being helpful and treating your buyer as a unique individual. It's really about aligning your actions with how people actually want to buy today.
Okay, so here is our roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll look at strategy versus sales process. Then, we'll walk through the 4 phases together: identify, connect, explore, and advise. And finally, we're going to wrap the whole thing up with a quick inbound summary.
Let's jump right into Section 1, strategy versus sales process. This is a really critical contrast.
You see, a traditional sales process is incredibly rigid. It's basically just an internal checklist of actions, right? Step 1, call. Step 2, email. Step 3, demo. It's entirely about what you do. By contrast, an inbound sales strategy is fluid, and it's completely buyer-centric. It totally flips the script to focus on how the buyer actually experiences your outreach. Ask yourself, are you forcing them down a rigid pipeline, or are you adapting to their context? Grasping this distinction is literally the foundation of inbound. It's all about empathy over checklists.
Moving right along to Phase 1, identify. This is all about finding the right people.
Looking at our overarching methodology here, identify is square one. Think about it. You just can't successfully jump to connecting or advising if you don't even know who you're talking to. Everything starts right here. It's about correctly identifying the right people who actually stand to benefit from what you're offering, rather than just, yelling your message into a crowded room hoping someone hears it. So, what does identifying actually look like in practice? Well, it all comes down to solitary research and data analysis. Before you make a single move, you gotta do your homework. Who are they? Are they showing intent? Maybe they recently expanded their team or posted online about a specific industry challenge? By analyzing the data first, you make sure your outreach targets someone whose context actually matches your expertise. This kind of focused learning is a total game changer because it saves time for both you and the buyer.
Once you've identified your target, we move straight into Phase 2, connect, adding real value.
Now, here's a big question for us. How can we create a genuinely helpful and personalized buyer experience during our very first outreach? This is the crucial bridge between identifying a prospect and actually making a meaningful connection with them. Because remember, you aren't just trying to get a meeting. You're trying to prove in your very first interaction that you're different, that you've done your research, and most importantly, that you are there to add value.
The absolute key here is to move completely away from those pushy tactics and deliver a personalized, helpful experience. The core goal of the Connect phase is not to pitch your product. Not at all. It's to establish trust by offering immediate, personalized value based on all that great data you gathered back in Phase 1. So if you know they're struggling with a specific industry shift, send them a really helpful article about it. Lead with empathy. Lead with insight. When you focus on being helpful rather than being pushy, you instantly disarm the buyer and open the door for a genuine, productive conversation.
And that brings us to Phase 3, explore, deepening those bonds.
During this phase, the salesperson acts as a guide, navigating the buyer through their unique challenges. At this point, you're no longer just a seller. The buyer is the hero of this story, and they're facing some serious obstacles. Your job? Active listening. Ask probing questions, and really map out the exact terrain of their unique challenges. You're exploring their world together, trying to uncover the actual root causes of their pain points. And I'll tell you, this structured exploration is exactly what makes the final phase so incredibly powerful.
Which leads us perfectly to Phase 4, advise, presenting those tailored solutions.
In this final stage, you need to transform into a trusted advisor, dynamically presenting tailored solutions. You aren't just reciting a standard, boring pitch deck anymore. Because you identified them correctly, connected helpfully, and explored their specific problems so deeply, you can now synthesize everything you've learned.
You act as that trusted advisor, presenting a highly personalized solution that directly addresses the unique context you just uncovered. Honestly, it feels way less like a sales pitch and a lot more like a doctor prescribing the absolute perfect remedy after a really thorough, thoughtful diagnosis.
All right, let's bring it all together in Section 6, the inbound summary. Some quick key takeaways for you.
To distill all of these actionable best practices down, number 1, you've got to adopt a fluid, buyer-centric strategy. 2, identify carefully using solid data analysis. 3, connect helpfully by ditching those outdated pushy tactics. 4, explore deeply as a trusted guide. And finally, 5, advise effectively by presenting tailored solutions. So why does all of this matter? Well, because this step-by-step framework is so impactful precisely because it respects the buyer's time, their context, and their intelligence. It takes what used to be a friction-filled transaction and turns it into a genuinely valuable partnership.
As we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final, slightly provocative thought so you can critically evaluate your own daily approach. Ask yourself right now, are you driving a rigid sales process, or are you guiding a helpful buyer's journey? The choice is entirely up to you, of course, but as the data and this whole framework show, being a helpful guide is what truly leads to success. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, and I challenge you to go out and put these 4 inbound phases into practice today. You've got this.